modern civilization wouldn't be what it is today without the continued exploration of our world. Whether you agree with how it was carried out, it's undeniably one of the most significant actions that moulded life as we know it today. Many countries hailed their explorers as heroes, discovering new lands and bringing priceless treasures and much-needed goods. However, many explorers were lost to time forever. A British trader on a rogue trading mission, Norwegian friends exploring the frigid Arctic, or an entire colony disappearing without a trace. These are the mysteries that still plague history buffs to this day. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 expeditions that mysteriously vanished. The Roanoke colony disappearance. The disappearance of roughly 120 settlers in the 1580s America has had people scratching their heads for centuries. The word Croatoan, carved into a wooden post, was all that was left of the lost colony of Roanoke in what is now North Carolina. Roanoke is the name for 2 attempted settlements made on a single island in North Carolina by Sir Walter Raleigh. The second settlement, which was established in 1587, was made under the governor John White. Less than a year after landing, White returned home to England with the intent to bring back supplies to the colony. He left behind his own wife, daughter, and granddaughter. His granddaughter was the first English child to be born in the Americas. During White's voyage back to England, war broke out with Spain, causing Queen Elizabeth I to recall all ships to battle the Spanish Armada. This delayed White's return for 2 years. When White returned in 1590, the ominous message of Croatoan was found. The settlement remained fortified, and not a soul was present. Over the years, many investigations were launched into locating the missing colonists. The first happened almost immediately. It served Sir Walter Raleigh well for the colonists to be alive. This would allow him to keep his claim on the American land. Though he did eventually lose the claim, the investigation into the colony continued throughout the centuries, with them still being carried out today. One of the most popular theories is that the colonists integrated with the Native American people, located on nearby Croatoan Island. As the name was carved onto the post, many believed it was the colonists' way of indicating where they had gone. Other colonists of the time had observed that English people who had been taken in by the Native American lifestyle often didn't show interest in returning to the English life, which may indicate why they never attempted to be rescued. Reports of pale-skinned blonde people within Native American tribes started surfacing around 1607. However, even now, with advanced DNA testing, it's impossible to prove that these were members of the lost colony. Because there are no known bones of a Roanoke colonist, there's no DNA to work with. As of today, there still hasn't been a descendant of Roanoke located. Some believe the colonists may have attempted to return to England on their own. Surely there were enough able-bodied soldiers left to make the journey. However, the supplies and size of the boat left behind weren't large enough to account for every remaining colonist. This again would leave some unaccounted survivors behind, even if every sailor had perished at sea. A local legend in Dare County, North Carolina, tells of an abandoned settlement known as Beachland. Coffins with Christian markings were found in the area, leading some to believe that they were linked with the lost colony. Some believe the colonists were continuing their harvest for Sir Walter Raleigh. The theory only delays the assimilation into the Roanoke tribes. However, it may help investigators track the movement of the colony. Since it may be impossible to determine a genetic descendant of the colonists, the world may never know what happened to this small group of explorers in a new world. George Bass. George Bass was best known as a British naval surgeon and a key explorer of Australia in the 1770s. his most notable discovery being the strait between Australia and Tasmania. He was a skilled but bold mariner who surveyed the eastern coast of Australia in a small boat appropriately named the Tom Thumb. Bass later shifted his love for sailing into a desire for private trading. In 1801, Bass, along with some friends, spent £10,000 on a ship called Venus, which was adorned with copper. He also amassed a cargo consisting of a slew of goods that he planned to sell in Port Jackson in Sydney, Australia. However, when he made it to the port, he found it was already overrun with different goods, and he was unable to unload his own. It was the plan he formulated next that ultimately led to his disappearance. It's believed that Bass intended to sail to Chile, South America, to trade his goods with the colonies there. At the time, Spanish settlements were only allowed to accept goods from Spanish ships. But shortages and high taxes led some colonies to participate in illegal trading. Whether Bass even made it to Chile has become a subject of debate. One theory suggests that Bass did indeed make it to South America, but was captured by the Spanish for illegal trading. If this were Bass's fate, he might have been sent to work in the silver mines. However, if this were the case, by 1808 the Spanish prisoners were released and returned to Europe. None of the 25 sailors on Bass's ship ever resurfaced. A Danish adventurer, Jorgensen, tells a story of Bass trying to force trade in Chile before ultimately being captured. Though it's accepted he may have crossed paths with Bass at some point, this theory was thrown out. This is because Jorgensen was known more for his entertaining stories rather than telling the truth. As with many missing sailors, it's highly plausible that Bass was the victim of the ocean waters. His ship nor any of its goods were ever recovered. He was declared lost at sea in 1806, and his wife was able to receive money from his widow's fund. The Spanish archives were searched in 1903, and Peruvian archives were searched in 2003. Neither of these showed any mention of George Bass and his ship, which may cement the fact that Bass never managed to make it to South America. Peter Tessum and Paul Knutson. In 1918, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen was planning to take his second expedition into the Arctic on his ship Maud. The goal of this expedition was to sail along Siberia and explore new areas of the Arctic. Amongst his crew was carpenter Peter Tessum and skilled sailor Paul Knutson. A year into the expedition, the crew made a stop for the winter in Cape Chelyuskin. Cape Chelyuskin is the northernmost point in Russia, being only 850 miles from the North Pole. The two were left behind for very different reasons, but were left with a mission that would lead them to their disappearance. Tessum had been suffering with headaches, and Amundsen decided he was not fit to carry on the expedition. Knutson had travelled the area before, and knew where previous explorers had left supplies. The men were told to wait for the Kara Sea to freeze over, and make their way south, carrying mail and scientific research collected on the Maud. The Maud then carried on without them. The path Tessum and Knutson were to take had been travelled before. The journey therefore should have taken a month maximum. However, no one knew to be looking for the arrival of the two men. It wasn't until Amundsen sent a telegram to his brother in March 1920 inquiring about Tessum and Knutson did anyone know that they had been missing. Otto Sverdrup, a fellow Norwegian sailor who had sailed the Arctic before, attempted a search for the men. However, in August of 1920, the ship encountered too much ice to continue. There was a last-ditch attempt to search the area with dogs or reindeer, but the area was far too uninhabited to organise such a thing. In 1921, at the request of Norway, a Russian explorer led another expedition to find the men. This search produced some results. About a tenth of the way into the trip, they discovered a letter dated November 18, 1919, in a tin can. The note said that Tessum and Knutson were in good health at the time. The men's abandoned sled was then found southwest of where the can was found. The search was eventually abandoned. In August 1922, an additional expedition turned up more evidence much by chance. A geological team found mail and other things on the Zeladive River, which was less than 50 miles to their destination. That same year, a mummified corpse was found near Dixon Island. The body was found within sight of the men's destination. Forensic proved that the body was one of the explorers, but was hard to determine which one. A watch on the body indicated it was more than likely to be Tassim. The cause of death was thought to be starvation. However, it's also believed he may have become excited to see the destination, causing him to slip and fall. Tassim is memorialized with a granite monument on a nearby hill. Knutson's body was never found. So what do you make of these mysterious disappearances? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.